Hackenschmidt, Gotch, Vieira, Hogan, Demote, all insects compared to this man. Your new Impact World Champion, Kenny Omega. I'm still your bud from that main event. That was history making. I usually don't do this, don't say this, but this was $5. If Dave Meltzer doesn't give this $5, there's something wrong with him. Cause this match was what a wrestling match should aspire to be. What every main event, yet a own wrestling match should strive to be. It was emotional, it was heart-wrenching, it was just everything I could have asked for and more. Now I could have done without them cutting to Tony Khan and Scott D'Amore a few times, but I understand, and given the result, I can more than forgive it. Your new Impact World Champion and AEW World Champion, AAA Mega World Champion, Kenny Omega, the man who built the Mount Rushmore of professional wrestling. And I know that's a strong statement to make, but I don't think it's arguable at this point that Kenny's one of the greatest, if not the greatest, professional wrestler in the history of this planet. Don said a couple things that I really loved here. When he introduced Kenny to the ring, he said he was the best pro wrestler in the last 10,000 years. And then Oyonzo, he said he was the best pro wrestler in the last 3,000 years. Now, historical accuracy aside, that is one of the reasons why Don Callis is so great. And what's funny is, before this happened, I knew who Don Callis was. But I didn't know he was that good at cutting promos and getting emotion out of people and everything. I'm thinking I'm so pumped up. Where did they go from here? Well, Omega wouldn't go for a title if he didn't think it was important, if he didn't think it was prestigious. So what I see is him going on AEW and issuing a challenge. Issuing an open challenge for either that week's Impact or the next, or maybe even Double or Nothing. Maybe we'd get a double title defense. I don't think that's yucky, I just think that'd be really cool. So either at the next Impact TV event or the next pay-per-view event, maybe even an Impact exclusive, that would drive the bar rate up, I can promise you. I see Kenny Omega issuing a challenge for the Impact World title. Hey, you boys said you bet after me, but I put a board in them. I put them down. So if any of you in the back think you can step to me, be my guest. I'm right here. I would, maybe not the first title defense, maybe not even the second title defense, But what I wanted to see, since it started, was Kenny Omega, the Impact World Champion, to go one-on-one with Eddie Edwards. I just think that'd be a phenomenal match. Okay, so I don't want to sound hard, but the important stuff is out of the way now. So if you just cared about Kenny Omega in the main event and how the main event was, Kenny won the title, you can leave now. The important stuff's out of the way. The rest of the show, it was good. It was worth the price of admission. But yes, face it, I've said it a couple times. This was a match that sold the show, as a main event should be. A main event should sell shows like that. I can only hope that both AEW and Impact, because I know AEW will, but I can only hope that Impact keeps its momentum going and capitalizes off that and uses Kenny to the best of his ability. And that is miles and miles to go. The rest of the show, we got, first of all, this was a historic pay-per-view, thanks to Kenny Omega and Russ Swan. Like I said, I already beat with a 5-star match. But the rest of the show, if you take the Kenny Omega stuff out of it, it was a good show. You get what you pay for. And it was a good show. It was a promise of that main event. Honestly, it was a promise of that main event that kept me watching. But, and again, I don't want to sound harsh, but that's the reality I think most people have figured out. To open the show, we get one of the matches that I called to open the show. We got a triple threat match. Josh Alexander, TJP, and the inevitable Ace Austin in a triple threat for the X-Division title. Now, I love Ace Austin. I think he's one of the best. I think he's one of the young rising stars. I'd love to see him challenge. I'm sorry, I keep coming back to him, but he's one of the guys I'd love to see challenge Kenny Omega. Now, maybe not beat him, because I think that's going to be Moose, personally, but he's not going to use that title for a long time to come. So they have plenty of time to build up credible challengers for that. They have a couple credible challengers already. Now, they're not going to win. I'm sorry, I keep talking about them. I'll try to stop now. So, we got the triple threat. Josh Alexander, Ace Austin, and TJP. It was a good match. It was hard hitting. It was high flying. Josh, at one point, they had like a submission train. You could abbreviate that how you want to, but they had a submission train where TJP John Alexander had Ace Austin down. Ace Austin in the ankle lock, in the standard version ankle lock. TJP came around and caught him in an octopus hold, and then transitioned into a knee bar. So I thought that was great. In the end, Josh Alexander won with divine intervention, with his Tiger Driver type move. I thought it was a good result. Personally, I would have had a Dotton win, but I thought it was a great result. I love Josh Alexander. I love Mesoretia. The match he and TJP had this past Tuesday on Impact was, or Tuesday, this past Thursday on Impact was phenomenal. It was one of the best Impact matches I've seen since coming back to Impact. So I thought that was great. Yeah, I could say in the end, Josh Alexander won. Maybe Azot is moving up the ladder as he should. He should challenge, maybe not challenge Omega right now, but he should. There I go, mentioning him again. I'm sorry. So he may not challenge him right now, but sometime down the line, I'd love to see that. We got up next. We got Brian Myers versus Matt Cardona. Honestly, this is a match I was least invested in. I mean, I know both these guys can go, and thought it was a great match, but honestly, this was the match I was least invested in, and I don't think I'm owning that. But, yeah, like I say, this was a good match. It went for about 10 minutes. Another thing, this pay-per-view flew by. And that's not an insult to any of the matches or anything. It's just a fact for me, this pay-per-view flew by. And that's what you want. You want to be invested. You want to be so invested that you don't even notice the time on a show. This was a little under or a little over 3 hours probably, but like I say, it flew by. Maybe 2.5 hours. I may not be. No, 3 hours. 3 hours. It was 3 hours, but it was a good way to spend the time. It never lagged in any places, except maybe for that Rich Swann promo later on. But this was a good info pay-per-view. Brian Myers, a little setup. Brian Myers, Matt Cardona is going for the radio fans. But Brian Myers flips him off, flips him over his back. He lands on his feet, and Cardona kind of jams his knee. He fell to the floor. The referee shows up the X sign. You think, oh my, did something go wrong? It's because the X means someone's legitimately injured. Did something go wrong in the match? Did he just land wrong? I hope this doesn't put Cardona out for y'all. But no, it was part of an angle. Brian Myers, even though the X is thrown up, that just signaled the doctor to come check on Myers. To come check on Cardona, I mean. So the match wasn't stopped. The match was still going on. Which should have been a telltale sign right there on the D, but, I wasn't thinking about that. Brian Myers comes over when Matt Cardona is getting checked on. He extends his hand to him. And I knew where this was going on the D, but he extends his hand, and Matt Cardona takes it. Brian Myers nailed them with the sword arm roster cut, and then nailed them with a jet decapitating roster cut for the win. So Brian Myers beats Matt Cardona. It'd be interesting to see if this feud is going to continue. I bet it will. Like I say, this was a good match. Surprise, surprise, both these men can wrestle. Both these men are dudes in the game. It's just baffling how WB screwed them up. But now they're in Impact, then bigger and greener pastures, so good for them. And they're still young guys. I mean, it's not like they're over the hill or anything. They're basically in the prime of their career right now, which is really good. Like I say, this was a good match. Brian Myers wins with a roster cut. Then we get I'm trying to keep these matches straight on it. So if I mess up, I'm sorry about that. But I will talk about all the matches. I do remember all of them. Then we get the tag match. We get Rachel Ellering, not a Paul Ellering, which I guess he was a wrestler or something. I know he's a manager now, but they kept saying Rachel Ellering is a second generation wrestler. So I guess Paul Ellering was a wrestler, which isn't surprising. Most managers that I know of have been active competitors at some point. But Rachel Ellering tagged with Jordynne Grace to take on Fire and Favor, the team of Kiera Hogan and Tasha Steelz, for the Impact Knockout Tag Team Championships. This was a good match. I was looking forward to seeing Rachel in the ring. I knew of her beforehand, but I haven't seen much of her work. I knew she was a good wrestler, but I haven't seen most of her work. Most of her I've seen her in Ring of Honor. If she was in Ring of Honor, it may have been MLW. I can't remember. But yeah, that was a good match for what it was. Honestly, I can't remember that much about it, but I do remember that Rachel Ellering and Jordynne Grace win, and they are the new Impact Tag Team Champions. That's a great move. Like, Fire and Favor are good, but, I mean, come on. Why would they bring Rachel Ellering just to use in a first match? By the way, this was a debut on Impact. She won the tag team titles on a first night as an active competitor in the company. This was a great look for Rachel. Rachel Ellering is good from what I saw. I'd love to see her in a one-on-one match to see what she's got. But she was good from what I saw. And I'm happy that they won. I mean, Jordynne is a good wrestler, and Rachel was great too. Then we get one of the matches I was looking forward to. Besides the main event, I'm not gonna say who was in it because I've done that enough. But besides the main event, this was one of the matches I was looking forward to. I'd even go as far to say it was the second most looked forward match on my list. Sami Callihan versus Trey Miguel in a last man standing match. This was brutal. At one point, you had Sami using a wrench to try to, and he put it in Trey's mouth to try to physically like this, and he was trying to. You could snap a person's not the jaw, but you could snap the lips like that. I don't know what the technical term for this thing is, but you could snap a rib, you could snap a cheek like that. So that was pretty brutal. We had, I can't believe I forgot, it's the first few seconds of this match. We had Sami Callihan just pick up Trey Miguel over his head, run with them, and just throw him outside the ring onto the floor. That was pretty brutal. That was pretty not hard to watch, but it must have been painful to take. And speaking of the back, from what I remember, Sami Callihan just focused on the back area, focused on the, which makes sense. I mean, because if your back's out, you can hardly stand. You don't want to stand when your back jacked up like that. Like I say, this was a brutal affair. Towards the end of the match, because I'm not going to go through that whole thing, but I do recommend you hunt this match down to watch it for yourself, because it is a really good match. Toward the end of the match, we have Sami Callihan. My brain will blank for a second. We have Sami Callihan with the steel steps, trays down on the floor. He takes those steel steps and he puts them over Trey and just sits there. Just stand there and just sits there. But Trey goes out from under the steel steps into the ring. Well, not into the ring, out the other side of the apron. He goes out the other side of the apron and just hits a cutter or bulldog or whatever you would call it, to Sami Callihan through an already set up table. It looks like it's going to be a draw, but Trey just manages to get to his feet off the hips of Sami Callihan. This was a good match. This went the way I thought it should. This went the way I thought it should go. This was a good match. It really showed what Trey got over all this time. And I fully expect this feud to continue, and I'm excited for it. Next up, I may be getting these confused, but I don't think I am. Next up, we have the Impact Tag Team Title match. Finn Juice, David Finlay and Juice Robinson versus the Good Brothers of Doc Gallows and Carl Anderson. This was a good match. This was what I thought it would be, which is in the first match that these two teams had on the Yad pay-per-view, it's the Yad pay-per-view, I can't remember its name now, but at the Yad match they had, the Good Brothers dominated. They owned the Yad because they took the opposition to Yati. But in this match, well, I don't want to say Finju dominated, but it was like 50-50. It was a lot more competitive than the Yat match was. And make no mistake, that was by design. That, the way those two matches were set up and the story being told, that was by design. Oh, that reminds me, by design had a match. I'll get to it after this. This was a really good tag team match. I mean, a really good near falls and really good psychology and isolation into the ring and all that. So in the end, this was a result I kind of didn't expect, but I kind of did. In the end, Finn Juice beats the Good Brothers, so they are still the Impact World Tag Team Champions, throwing them off in Japan for a while longer. I don't know who else they introduced Strowman on the T. Maybe Eddie Edwards and Rich Swann can go for the gold. that'd be a tag team I'd want to see. But yeah, this was a good match. I Juice Robinson. I like David Finney. I haven't seen as much of him as I've seen of Juice Robinson, I'll admit. Because Juice Robinson is just great. I love me some Juice Robinson. But this was a good match. Like I say, it was a lot more competitive than that match, competed by design. Then we get, well, actually this happened early on, but I forgot about it. We got Valiant by Design and a debuting W. Morrissey, which is Big Cass, and he was Big Cass in WB if you didn't watch the pay-per-view. But we got the debut of W. Morrissey here, or Morrissey, or however you say that. But this was a good 8-man tag. This was Eddie Edwards, Willie Mack, Eddie Edwards, Willie Mack, James Storm, and Chris Sabin. Eddie Edwards, Willie Mack, James Storm, and Chris Sabin versus Valiant by Design. I'm not gonna try to say there was Joe Doring, there was just Valiant by Design on the this was a good debut for W. Morrissey. He looked dominant, he looked athletic, he looked good, he looked jacked. I'm really happy for him. He was in a bad place for a while, but he landed back on his feet. He landed on Impact on the national stage at Rebellion, no yes, to make his debut. And I couldn't be happier for him. I don't want to see Endo ever again, but I couldn't be happier for W. Morrissey. This was a good debut. Obviously, Valiant by Design won because of Morrissey, because of the debut. But even barring that, I think they should have won anyway. But anyway, a little further up the card, because I forgot about the Valiant by Design match. A little further up the card, we get Deonna Purrazzo versus Todd Steele. No, we get Deonna Purrazzo versus Tenille Dashwood. We get her versus Tenille Dashwood for the knockout title. Honestly, I love Deonna Purrazzo a lot. I don't think Tenille Dashwood is quite there yet. But I wouldn't have minded if she won, if that makes any sense. But Deonna won here, and I'm happy. I'm grateful. And Tenille Dashwood sold out. This was the best match he's had under the Impact banner that I've seen. So Tenille Dashwood sold out here. It was a good match. At one point, Deonna has to kneel down, and she's wrenching on her arm. She's pointed back, just pointed as far back as they can go without breaking it. And Tenille just counters. Tenille just counters with the Hiroyama Ito cradle. Now she doesn't win, thankfully, but I thought that was good. See Deonna's momentum and Deonna's kind of exuberance and over-rotation to advantage. So I thought that was good. This was a good match. Tenille or Deonna Purrazzo won. We had a return at the end of this match of I can't remember her name now, but I remember saying she is good, and I can't wait for the match between her and Deonna Purrazzo. I am sorry that I can't remember her name, but it's been a long night. Um, a young, exciting night, might I add. Then we got the main event, which was epic. Best match on the card, as far as I'm concerned. The match everyone paid to see. The match every wrestling match Yeti own main event to aspire to be. And that was Impact Rebellion 2021. It was it was a historic show. I mean, I really advise you, with Swan, Kenny Omega, you look that match up, because that was just what a wrestling match should be, in my opinion. That was just epic, was just what all wrestling matches should aspire to be. But that was Impact Rebellion 2021. It was a good show. What's the price of admission? So guys, have a good night, and I'll see you when I see you.